Welcome back. Now for your 5-day weather forecast, we go outside to Hugh Smith.
Thanks, guys. We'll be seeing plenty of rain today. The forecast calls for 20 millimeters of it before it's all said and done, but combined with warmer temperatures, it could get rid of all the leftover snow. Here's your 5-day weather forecast. Today we'll have rain for 12 hours straight with a high of 8. Saturday will be dry, but have a bit of a drop in temperature with a high of 4 and a low of 0. Sunday will be a nice one with sunny skies and a high of 10 and a low of -3. Monday we'll get some wet weather with isolated showers and a high of 10. And Tuesday we'll have some light rain combined with a high of 7. Looks like plenty of April showers are in store for next week, but at least things are starting to warm up. And that's it for your 5-day weather forecast. Now back to the studio.
Thanks, Hugh. Turning now to national and international news. Changes on the horizon as Quebecers prepare for Monday's provincial election. Polls suggest that Philippe Couillard's Quebec Liberal Party is the frontrunner, commanding 37% of decided voters' support. Those same polls place Quebec Premier Pauline Marois and her Parti Québécois in second with 28% of the vote. The election could have a big impact on more than just the political sphere in Quebec. Central to this campaign has been the PQ's controversial Charter of Values and the issue of independence.
Pickets have now been replaced with scrubs in Nova Scotia. Capitol Health nurses were forced back to work this morning. The province's Liberal government passed a bill that takes away health care and community workers' right to strike. The essential services legislation also requires unions and employers to reach an agreement before job action takes place. The new law is effective immediately.
A Canadian journalist has been wounded and a German photographer has died after a shooting in Afghanistan. The two women were attacked by an Afghan police officer while in their car. 48-year-old Anya Niedringhaus was killed. Timmins, Ontario native Kathy Gannon suffered gunshot wounds but is in stable condition. The journalists were following convoys carrying ballots for the upcoming Afghani elections. It is believed the gunmen may have mistaken the identities of the journalists because police weren't informed about journalists being in the area.
Search teams are now starting their underwater search for the missing Malaysian Airlines flight MH370. The team will be using a towed pinger locator that is able to search a 240-kilometer radius. Australian officials are heading the search. The plane's black box only has enough battery life to send out pings for 30 days after a crash. Flight 370 vanished on March 8th, so search teams have mere days to locate the box. Up to 14 planes and 9 ships are expected to aid in the search.
A conflict with a fellow soldier may have initiated the shooting rampage at Fort Hood. The post's commanding general says Army Specialist Ivan Lopez had an altercation immediately before the shooting took place. He also says there is strong evidence Lopez had an unstable psychiatric and psychological disorder. While nothing is confirmed at this point, the general says the investigation is ongoing. And now with your sports news, here's John Mace. John, it seems like it would be a great time to be a baseball fan in Toronto.
That's right, Sean. We don't get to say that all the time. Fresh off a 4-game split series with the Tampa Bay Rays, the Jays play host to the New York Yankees tonight in our season home opener. This weekend is a best-of-3 series, and it's bound to be a loud one. Tickets went on sale back in January and sold out in 48 minutes. Last night, the Jays suffered a 7-2 loss as Brandon Morrow gave up 4 runs and 7 hits over 5 innings. On the mound for the Jays tonight will be Dustin McGowan, his first start in 2.5 years. He'll be up against Japanese pitching sensation Masahiro Tanaka in his Major League debut. Nazem Kadri eased some of the tension of Leafs Nation by scoring an overtime winner, his only chance of the game, to lift the Toronto Maple Leafs over the Boston Bruins. It wasn't all joy, though. Leafs netminder Jonathan Bernier was forced to leave the game with a leg injury. He'll be out for 3 weeks. With the Leafs needing wins in all of the remaining games to stay in playoff contention, all eyes will be on James Reimer to carry the load. In other news around the league, our rivals for the final playoff spot, the Columbus Blue Jackets, secured 2 points with a victory. Even if the Leafs win their next 4, there is a chance the Blue Jackets will snag that final wild card spot. Nipping at our heels with 81 points, the Capitals take on the Devils tonight. What started with 68 teams is down to the final 4. The NCAA basketball championships will be decided this weekend in Dallas. In the first semifinal Saturday, number 1 seed Florida battles number 7 Connecticut. Immediately following that game, 8th seed Kentucky faces 2nd seed Wisconsin. The 2 winners will then meet Monday night for the championship. The games could set the all-time NCAA basketball attendance record with 80,000 people expected to fill Cowboys' AT&T Stadium. And finally, Ferrari is gearing up its pressure on Formula One authorities to redact new rules that were put into place this year. F1 CEO Bernie Ecclestone introduced smaller V6 engines and a limit of 100 kilograms of fuel per car. With no refueling allowed in races that can last up to 2 hours, drivers have to be careful not to exhaust their fuel. Ferrari's online campaign has received more than 50,000 responses, and they say 83% feel as though the new rules have made races less exciting and that fans don't like the sound of the new engines. The rule changes have also made cars up to 10 seconds slower per lap. Ferrari and F1 officials are scheduled to meet this weekend at the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Thanks, John. After the break, we'll get the latest in entertainment from Alexis McDonald.
David Letterman announces his retirement and Lancome gets a new spokeswoman. All this and more coming up after the break.